following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a successful review. And today we're going to be taking a look at a Transformers figure I've had in my collection since the start of the year, and it is Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Needlenose. So, yes, for those of you wondering who exactly is Needlenose, he's an original Transformers Generation 1 character. I believe it was either 1988 or 89 when Needlenose was added to the roster of Transformers characters, and he is one of three Transformers characters that were known as the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters. So, unlike the regular Target Master, such as Point Blank, Crosshairs, or Sure Shot, or even Trigger Happy, Misfire, or Slug, or darn, I just forgot his name for a second. Slug Slinger, I believe. Unlike the regular Target Masters who had just one partner, the Double Target Masters had two Target Masters, and what has made Needlenose somewhat of a sought-after figure amongst older G1 Transformers collectors is that he is the last of the three Decepticon Double Target Masters to be given a modern-day deluxe figure. The other two Decepticon Double Target Masters are Spinister, who was released in the Siege line in 2019, and Quake, who was given a deluxe figure in the Titans Return line back in 2017. So it's really a thrill to finally have Needlenose here to complete the trio of Decepticon Double Target Masters. So here's Needlenose while he's still inside the box. There's some artwork of his jet mode, and of course there's his two Target Master partners forming the missiles for the jet mode. We got a close-up here of Needlenose's face, and I love the medieval knight-shaped helmet design that he has on him. And there he is wielding his two Target Master partners. Coming around here to the other side of the box, you've got the artwork for the poster image for the Legacy line. You've got the left-hand side, which contains Leo Prime. You've got Breakdown, and you've got the Unkions, and then, of course, the Dinobots, along with Crosscut. And then here on the back of the box, you've got your product photos. You've got Needlenose in his robot mode and his jet mode, and he transforms back and forth between both modes in up to 14 steps. And the stupid Evo Fusion gimmick advertised that you can combine his two Target Master partners, I can't read their names backwards. You've got Sunbeam, who is mostly blue with red and yellow highlights, and then you've got Zigzag, who's mostly black with yellow and white highlights. Alright, so of the three Decepticon Double Target Masters, Needlenose is the only one who actually comes partnered with his two Target Master partners. Spinister, his two Target Master partners were released separately from him, and then Quake, because he was released way back in the Titans Return line, Quake's two Target Master partners haven't been given modern day updated figures. I saw at the start of the year, some people got duplicate copies of Needlenose and then they painted Zigzag and Sunbeam into Quake's Target Master partners so that they could be partnered up with the Titans Return version of him. But yes, one of the reasons why I'm particularly excited to add Needlenose to my collection is that this is the first and currently only action figure of him that I have in my Transformers collection. And that's one thing I'm going to be saying a lot in my upcoming reviews of the deluxe class-sized Transformers figures in the Legacy line. As you can see up here, I've got a bunch of Legacy figures stacked on deluxe class-sized Legacy figures stacked on top of each other. And as I was looking at all the Transformers Legacy figures that I got for my birthday a couple of weeks ago, I realized that a lot of the deluxe class figures, including Needlenose, who was released in Wave 1 of Legacy Evolution, they're the first and currently only action figures of those Transformers characters that I've added to my collection, so I'm going to be saying that a lot with the deluxe class figures. Not so much with the other size classes, but yeah, I'm really excited to. That's one of the reasons why I'm particularly excited with all the deluxe figures that have been released in the Legacy Evolution line, because for me personally, even though I've been collecting Transformers figures nonstop since January of 2003, a lot of the deluxe class sized figures in the Legacy Evolution line are firsts for me. Yeah, so one thing that I will say about Needlenose from all the other reviews I've seen, you can see it here on the photos on his box. One thing that some people have found kind of a letdown with Needlenose is that you could actually separate his jet mode parts from his robot mode parts, and you could get the jet and robot separately. from each other. So unfortunately, unlike just like a lot of fantastic jet transformers, that armor's Needlenose is just his robot mode folded up on the underside of the jet. But for me personally, I don't care because I'm just thrilled to finally have an action figure of Needlenose in my collection. But one thing that I will point out that some people have pointed out is that back in 2019, when the Transformers Siege line was being launched, Needlenose was one of the Transformers characters that fans could vote on being given a deluxe figure in the Legacy. I mean, in the just said Legacy. I meant in the Transformers Siege line, and Needlenose here was one of the characters that could have been voted to be given a deluxe class figure in the Siege line. The character who ended up winning the vote was Impactor, the leader of the Autobot Wreckers, and so because of that, a lot of some collectors, in their reviews, some reviewers have pointed out that because Needlenose was one of the characters in the fan vote poll for the Siege line, in their minds, this action figure of him, it's been in the works with the designers at Hasbro and Takara Tomy since 2019, and in that regard, Needlenose does somewhat feel kind of in robot mode, particularly his joints and the amount of articulation that he has. It's more in line with the aesthetic from the Transformers figures released in the Siege line than it has with the more recent Legacy Evolution figures. And a lot of reviews I've seen, some people have said that Needlenose does as stand perfectly. He does feel like he's from the same exact line of Transformers figures when you partner him up and have him standing beside his fellow Decepticon Double-Targetmaster of Siege Spinister. Now, whether or not there's any truth to what I just said, that Needlenose, this figure of him was technically designed back in 2019 in case he won the fan vote poll for the Siege line, or if it's been designed more recently, I honestly cannot say. But I will say this, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself, I'm just thrilled to finally have a modern day figure of Needlenose here in my collection. Actually, a lot of Transformers fans and collectors who got a hold of Titans Return, Quake, and Siege Spinister have been excited to get Needlenose to complete the trio Decepticon Double-Targetmasters. So I babbled on 7 minutes already, Eddie, with him still inside the box. Let's get Needlenose out and take a close look at him in robot mode. Alright, so before we take a look at Needlenose himself, here are his two Targetmaster partners. This is Zigzag and Solar... Is it Solar Beam? Sunbeam. Sorry about that. So yeah, here is Zigzag and Sunbeam. They are unfortunately designed similarly to Point Blank's Targetmaster partner Peacemaker. They don't have any articulation in robot mode at all, and even the 5mm ports that they have on them are permanently fixed in place. So unfortunately, a Zigzag looks like he's standing with a pipe between his feet, and Sunbeam looks like he has a cannon sticking out of his chest. So that's one thing that a lot of Transformers fans and collectors have been disappointed with the Legacy Targetmasters, is that compared to the Battle Masters that were released in the Siege line, which were everyone thought were the new permanent versions of the Targetmasters, the Legacy Targetmasters themselves, they feel like a downgrade compared to the Battle Masters that were released in both the Siege and Earthrise lines. So similar to their Generation 1 versions, to transform Zigzag and Sunbeam into Needlenose's weapons, you just lay them down flat and flip out the barrels here, and so Zigzag transforms into a double-barreled laser gun, while Sunbeam transforms into a single-barreled laser gun. And so, getting them here they are being held by Needlenose. So here is Needlenose himself, off in his robot mode. It's pretty standard articulation, head's on a ball joint, so it can spin left and right 160 degrees. It can look up, I want to say, about up and down about 1 centimeter. That's pretty much it. The arms have the potential to spin 360 degrees, both forwards and backwards, but you do have to rotate the wings of Needlenose's jet mode back to get the arm to go backwards. Swivel joint. joint in the bicep, hinge joint, double hinge joint in the elbow, and wrist swivels. Those which are always a nice touch, especially on a figure that you would think wouldn't have wrist swivels. The waist can spin 360 degrees left and right, but out of the box it's very stiff. And unfortunately, Needlenose's wings do get in the way of a lot of the articulated joints. The hips on the legs are universal joints, so they have the potential to go backwards up to 90 degrees, but you'd have to remove Needlenose's wings to retrieve a backward motion of the leg at the hip. Legs can go forward this far, or they can go out this far, so Needlenose can do the full splits. It's if you want to see him do that. Do that swivel joints in the upper part of the thigh, hinged knees, which can go more than 90 degrees. Knees due to transformation. You have ankle rockers on the feet, and then the toe. Those on the feet can move angle downward. So a lot of decent articulation poses here on Needlenose. One minor nitpick that I have is that his eyes are hollowed out. Now, same thing with the forearms. Arms. At first glance, you might think that the forearms are hollow because the hands rotate into them, but unfortunately, they do not. So that is a bit of a shame there. But overall, I really do enjoy how Needlenose pointed out, and of course, the nose cone of the jet, it just sits back here behind him as a kibble for the robot mode. And that's one of the reasons why I said when he was still in the box that some collectors have pointed out that if you were to take off Needlenose's backpack, the backpack is not just the cockpit, but it's also the fuselage, the wings, and the tail of the jet mode. So if you were to remove Needlenose's backpack, you would be able to have the jet mode and the robot mode exist simultaneously, detached from each other. So unfortunately, Needlenose, one could argue, isn't too much of a transformer. He's actually a shell former. No former, not even a shell former, just I don't know what you would call it. But yeah, you get the idea. Needlenose is, if you were to remove Needlenose's jet mode, his vehicle mode would just be him with his arms and legs folded into his torso. So that is a bit of a letdown, but I don't care because I'm just, again, thrilled to finally have an action figure of Needlenose in my Transformers collection. And for some quick size comparisons with some other deluxe class Transformers, here's Needlenose next to Siege Spinister. So as you can see there, Needlenose is almost the same size as the deluxe figures that were released in the Siege line back in 2019. He was one of the characters in the fan vote for being given a deluxe figure in the Siege line. And as you can see, I have Spinister armed with his two Targetmaster partners. I apologize for not remembering their names off the top of my head. This one was released individually, and then this one, which is the rarest and most hard to find out of Spinister and Sinister's trio, this one was released with Siege Skywarp. So that's the rarest of Spinister's two Targetmaster partners. So here he is, Needlenose next to fellow Decepticon Double-Targetmaster Spinister. And here's the other Decepticon Double-Targetmaster of Decepticon Quake. And out of all three of the Double-Targetmasters, Quake is the one that looks the least like his original Generation 1 action figure. That's because Quake is a repaint of Titan's Return Hardhead. And so instead of looking more like his Generation 1 figure, Quake is just a Decepticon doppelganger of Hardhead. Whether or not we're going to get another deluxe class action figure of Quake that looks more like his Generation 1 action figure, which has him transforming into an Earth mode tank, I honestly cannot say. But I will say this. It really is a thrill seeing all three of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters united at last, and they are a really fantastic team. In the Double-Targetmasters, in addition to their main gimmick of having two Targetmaster partners, the other gimmick that they have is that they all transform into different types of military vehicles. Quake, a tank; Needlenose, a jet; and Spinister, or a combat chopper. So yes, with the release of Needlenose, if you got Titans Return Quake and Siege Spinister back when they were released, this is one of the main motivators to add Needlenose to your Transformers collection because he's the last of the 3 Decepticon Double-Targetmasters to get released. So the trio of Decepticons is now complete with Needlenose's arrival. I have all the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters. They do have Autobot Counterparts. The only Autobot Double-Targetmaster who's been given a modern-day figure is Autobot Scoop, who was released in the Generations Thrilling 30 line way back in 2014. The other Autobot Double-Targetmasters who haven't never been given modern-day action figures are Quick Mix and Landfill. Quick Mix transforms into a mostly orange cement mixer. There's a non-G1 version of Quick Mix who was released in the Cybertron line back in 2006. And Landfill transforms into a mostly tan and with brown parts dump truck. But Landfill's never been given any type of modern day action figure, none that I'm aware of. But hopefully with the release of all 3 of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters, hopefully new figures of Quick Mix and Landfill will be released to Sammy-side Scoop, so all 6 of the Double-Targetmasters can have modern day figures. But yeah, I'm really thrilled, and it's really nice to have all 3 of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters at least here. So without further delay, let's get Needlenose transformed into his jet mode, and we'll wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Needlenose transformed into his jet mode, and unfortunately, one thing that Needlenose is lacking is any type of landing gear. They have the potential to sculpt landing gear here on the nose of the jet mode since it's just kibble and robot mode, but it's non-existent. There isn't even any sculpted landing gear on him at all, and so, again, as I said, as I've been saying throughout the review, Needlenose, when you transform into jet mode, he's primarily just the robot mode folded in underneath, and I don't know if it's going to unhook properly since I'm talking on camera, but separating it a bit. Trying to get everything straightened out, but you can see it right there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see, but if you look right in there, if you were to slice that little gray hinge in half, then the upper and lower halves of Needlenose's vehicle mode would be separated off, and basically as I said, the actual jet mode parts themselves are Needlenose's backpack, while the actual robot just transforms into the underside of the jet. So yeah, unfortunately, Needlenose is dependent on that tiny little gray hinge right here to hold his actual vehicle mode and robot mode parts together. So that is a little bit of a letdown to know that it's just one little tiny hinge that's holding Needlenose together. Someone pointed out that the same was true with the Siege Tetrajet mold, that Siege Starscream and all subsequent repaints, the way the figure transforms is actually dependent on one hinge joint to hold it together, so you can kind of see why some people stated that because Needlenose was one of the fan vote characters for the Siege line in 2019, that it's possible that his this Legacy Deluxe class figure of Needlenose was designed back then, and Hasbro and Descartes Tomy decided to wait until 2023, 4 years after designing it to release it. But again, I don't know if that's nonsense that some Transformers fans and collectors came up with, so please don't quote me on that. It's late at night and my voice is starting to give out on me. So that's why I'm having to clear my throat, but yeah. Needlenose is very impressive looking. The Decepticon logos on the wingtips, and then the silver and blue stripes that he has on his wings. The silver stripes show up if I hold it up to the light on my ceiling. You can kind of see the stripes right there if I angle Needlenose like this. There's the silver stripes with the blue in the center. Silver stripes on a gray background don't really show up too well on camera. In hand, you can kind of, if you look at it at a certain angle, you can see the stripes. That's a little bit better than my camera's making it out to be, but yes, Needlenose, the paint job is fairly accurate to his original Generation 1 action figure. I do enjoy that the cockpit is solid plastic and that they painted it red. And, uh, and as far as I can tell, most of Needlenose's parts are blue plastic. This part of the fuselage is gray paint. And the wings themselves are gray plastic. So, uh, one thing that they did do nicely is that the gray paint does match up with the gray plastic parts on the wings fairly successfully. So that is a nice thing to see. And then officially, you just stick Zigzag and Sunbeam here on the underside of the wings, and they just double as the missiles for Needlenose's jet mode. I don't know specifically what type of jet mode Needlenose has. It is an Earth mode jet. That's one thing about all three of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters is that they live up to the phrase of robots in disguise by being Earth mode vehicles. At least their G1 figures were. Er, Um, but yeah, he is a pretty impressive looking jet. And so gonna have Needlenose flying around and pew pew, you zap zap on his Autobot enemies. So yeah, overall a pretty nice looking jet mode. And just to start off the review for one more site, once again for a size comparison, here's Needlenose next to his fellow Decepticon Double-Targetmasters, Quake, who was released in Titan's Return, and Spinister, who was released in the Siege line. This, in my opinion, is the best configuration for Spinister's Target Masters, is just having them sit on the underside of him. It does mean he angles upward in chopper mode, but just like Quake, like Spinister, from what I've seen with people's attempts at having him united with his Target Master partners, he wasn't necessarily designed to have the Target Master partners interact with him. That's why he had two laser guns that just looked like his G1 Target Masters. There's whether or not Needlenose's, whether or not Zigzag and Sunbeam are going to be repainted as Spinister and Quake's Target Master partners is unknown at this point. And out of all three of these figures, Quake unfortunately is the oddball due to the fact that being a repaint of Hardhead with a different Titan Master face sculpt, Quake is the one that looks the least like his Generation 1 counterpart. The original Generation 1 Quake action figure is a Earth mode tank, and even though the transformation's different, Quake it would be a more G1 accurate action figure. We get a more G1 accurate action figure of Quake if the Kingdom Warpath figure was repainted into him versus Titan's Return Hardhead. But overall, I do enjoy finally having all three of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters in my collection. And yeah, it's just a real thrill to see them all standing beside each other. So, for the proverbial question to end the review, do I recommend getting Transformers Legacy Evolution Needlenose and adding him to your Transformers collection? Absolutely. Even if you don't have Quake and Spinister as a standalone figure, Needlenose does a fairly decent job of being a deluxe-sized Decepticon jet. And even though I've been complaining about how he's just a robot folded underneath a jet, that's just something that a lot of jet transformers do. The robot mode parts just hang off under the underside of the jet mode, and it is a fairly nice looking jet mode. Zigzag and Sunbeam are nice additions, so technically, for the same price as other deluxe class transformers that come with just one non-transforming laser gun, when you buy Legacy Needlenose, you get 3 Transformers action figures for the price of one. And so that's another, in my opinion, another fantastic reason to buy Needlenose. He's the only deluxe class figure in the Legacy line so far. We actually get 3 Transformers characters at the same time. A lot of Transformers fans and collectors have found Zigzag and Sunbeam to be disappointing, just like they did with Point Blank's Target Master partner Peacemaker. But in my opinion, considering the fact that we got these guys at all when Quake's Target Master partners were never released, and Spinisters you had to buy separately, and one of them was sold as an exclusive. The fact that Needlenose comes with Zigzag and Sunbeam is that's a thumbs up to me. Yeah, I approve of that decision. So thank you guys all so much. This has been in my review of Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Needlenose with Target Master partners Zigzag and Sunbeam. I highly recommend you get this figure, especially if you already have Titans Return Quake and Siege Spinister in your collection. It's a thrill to finally see all three of the Decepticon Double-Targetmasters united and teamed up. up to fight the Autobots. So thank you guys all so much. And until next time, you guys, this has been the TFN Geek. And until next time, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, transform, and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.